Here we go.
You are about to experience the Skip Bayless Show, brought to you by FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Bear with me on this. Help me out on this. Save me on this. I am being driven mad by Micah madness, by Micah mania, by Micah mayhem all around me, eating me alive, pushing me to the edge of the cliff over which I feel like I'm about to fall because I don't get it. You lifelong diehard Cowboy fans out there, please help me with this. What am I missing other than everything I missed from Micah Parsons over the last 3 years? Yeah, I once called him 11 from heaven in his rookie year when he actually wrecked games before the league figured him out. And now 11 from heaven has turned into 11 from hell for me, because I seriously, sincerely, from the very bottom of my Cowboy loving heart, I don't miss him for a second. Especially if he's going to eat a fourth of my salary cap, especially if you tell me that for the next 4 or 5 years, I have to live with Micah Parsons as the highest paid defensive player ever and as the highest paid non-quarterback in all the land. I can't live with that. I can't swallow that. I can't abide that without going mad, as in Micah madness, as in crazy, as in what are we doing? We overpaid Dak like we overpaid Zeke. And then just when I thought we had paid CeeDee Lamb exactly what he's worth, he turned into a receiver who dropped 4 passes on opening night at Philadelphia, or we win the game. I'm being driven mad by all of the above because, by the way, CD, now it should stand for can't drop. Can't drop. You can't drop those passes, CeeDee Lamb. You're the best receiver in football, at least I thought you were. You can't drop 4 passes at Philadelphia on opening night. You can't drop one early in the fourth quarter and late in the fourth quarter that would have won the football game against the defending champs. But help me out with this. Tell me I'm wrong, or maybe tell me I'm right about this. The CeeDee Lamb I closely observed, the one who started to hurt my eyes over the last couple of years, really 3 years, as I kept saying, I was having to put out a missing Parsons report on him. Not a missing persons, a missing Parsons, because I couldn't find him. In playoff games, I could not find Micah Parsons. Am I wrong about this? Help me out. I know a lot of you out there watch these games, every snap of these games. Am I wrong? Twice against San Francisco, home and away, he was missing Parsons, because I was certainly missing Parsons, and I think you were too. And We're favored to beat Jimmy G's 49ers at home. And we basically got blown off the field until the fourth quarter. And then Dak, as usual, rallied us. It's mostly garbage time. Couldn't get down in time to get the clock stopped that we could have had one last sort of mini Hail Mary to tie the game. But to San Francisco's, the defense actually played pretty well. It wasn't because of Micah, because he didn't register any big numbers. There was no game wrecking going on. Defense played pretty well at San Francisco and held them to 19 points at home. That's Brock Purdy's rookie year. That should have been good enough to win the game. And guess who was the missing Parsons that day? Missing person was Dak. How many throws did he miss in that game? 5 that were game changers. He threw 2 picks in the second quarter. It's just hard to dig out of that hole at San Francisco. And I keep saying this, and people keep laughing at me, but he had only 1 sack in 4 playoff games, and it came at Tampa against the 8-9 Bucs, who had stolen their division with a sub-500 record, and a 45-year-old Tom Brady, who finally went down because of Micah Parsons. He finally registered a sack with 1 minute and 29 seconds left in a 31-14 Cowboy blowout. Help me out. Is that good enough to make him the highest paid defensive player ever? Is he the best pass rusher in football? Help me out. No. What evidence can you show me he's the best pass rusher in football? I know there are these stats out there about comparing him to Reggie White in sacks. All I know is since he stepped onto an NFL field for the first time, he's 5th in sacks and 5th in quarterback hits. 5th and 5th. Does that mean first? Is he better than Myles Garrett? No. Is he better than TJ Watt? No. Is he better than Nick Bosa? No. Heck, is he better than Trey Hendrickson? I don't see that kind of motor. I keep hearing about what a Ferrari is. Yeah, but after 5 or 6 games, he's got a Volkswagen engine. That's how fast his motor runs. It's like a sewing machine for an engine. And I get it. He was on his best behavior. He goes to Green Bay. Happy days are here again. Packer Nation explodes. They smartly waited to introduce Micah last. He runs out last. Lambeau goes nuts. Packer Nation goes berserk. Micah madness. And yeah, he was fresh. He was revved, motor running hot. He's going to play only a few snaps on defense. He's going to be a situational pass rusher making the most non-quarterback money in football. Good luck with that. Worked on Sunday at home against a Lions team without Ben Johnson calling plays and with 3 new offensive linemen starting in front of a Jared Goff who turned into Jared Goof right before your very eyes. Jared Goof. And Micah was high energy. It's been since his rookie year that I saw him exert that kind of energy every single play. But if I may go literary, one of my all-time favorite authors, forgive me, I'm going Vanderbilt here. I was an English major. William Faulkner wrote a novel, one of my favorites of his, called The Sound and the Fury. And there's an old Shakespeare line about the sound and the fury signifying nothing. For Micah, in the last 3 years as a Dallas Cowboy, it was all sound and fury signifying nothing. At the snap, you see all this quickness, signifying nothing, going nowhere slowly. or fastly, however you want to look at it. It's a lot of commotion and not a lot of motion, if you will. It's just commotion. He looks like he's rushing the passer. And I guess they gave him a couple of hurries the other day, but I'm watching the stats. They're not a hurry stat on ESPN.com where I look at the stats, but all the way to the bitter end of the game, it's a blowout. Micah has registered no sacks, as in tackles behind the line of scrimmage, quarterback hit, no, sack, no. Until a couple of minutes are left, and you know what happened. The worst thing happened for me, which was Jared Goff bolts to the right. It's like he's wearing cement shoes. He can't move. Dak can move faster than Jared Goff. And he's sort of rolling to his right, or I guess, quote unquote, I put quotes around, running to his right. And what can Micah do best? He's LeBron-esque. He can chase down, not block, but sack. Chase down, blind side, sack. And that's what he did to Jared Goff, who apparently, it's so loud there, the roar was rising as Micah drew a bead on poor Jared Goff. And here came Micah tearing after him. And they said Micah ran faster on that sack than he has on any sack in his career. And I believe it because his fire was lit, or I should say relit from his rookie year, because that's the fastest I have seen Micah move since his rookie year, and I guess fastest ever before a sack. Obviously, this is a chase down sack, so Micah had room to roam. He had room to hit basically full speed, and he can run whatever he weighs, 250-ish. He timed 4.39 in the 40 coming out of Penn State. And he did what he can do if you present the right silver platter circumstance for Micah Parsons. Yeah, he can run after Jared Goff, because Jared Goff or Goof couldn't outrun me. I don't believe he could. I'm here to tell you, I don't think he could outrun me right here, right now, and I'm a little older than Jared Goff. And Micah LeBrons him, chases him down, ambushes him, blindsides him, sneak attacks him with as tumultuous a sack as ever been registered in the history of the Green Bay Packers. Lambeau lifts off. It came up out of its moorings and rose up into the heavens for a moment because of Micah Parsons. Super Bowls are here again in Titletown. It was like, for me, okay, let's just stop the season, especially in the NFC, and just declare the Packers the NFC representative to the Super Bowl. Why even play another game? Because it's over, because the Packers got Micah. Even though the Packers had the fifth best defense last year, and when I look at Van Ness and Rashawn Gary and Wyatt and Edgerrin Cooper, not that he's in the D line, but he's a bad MF, is Edgerrin Cooper. Whew. I mean, he's a better all-around defensive player than Mike ever thought about being. So if you want to pay him that money, be my guest. He's a game changer. But their defense was already top five, fifth best. And yeah, it certainly doesn't hurt to add Micah, but at what price? For a fourth of your salary cap? That's insane to me. And I'm so glad he's not eating up a fourth of my cap in Dallas, because he won't be able to live up to it. And I heard a lot about this back issue. Obviously I couldn't see it in effect on Sunday. Maybe he did get an epidural steroid injection. I've had several. They're no fun, but they really work. Maybe the pain was masked, or maybe he really didn't have much pain. I was told that when Micah really got into it with Jerry, and it became a cold war between those two over the last couple of weeks, that Jerry questioned, he actually questioned publicly whether Micah was really hurt with a back injury, quote unquote. Jerry said publicly, he's just negotiating. And I was told that Micah made it clear to Jerry that he was going to have to miss the first 4-ish weeks of the season because of his back injury, and that he thought at that point he was going forward as a Cowboy, but it looked like he was going to have to go forward under the restraints of the 5th year of his rookie deal, that Jerry's just going to flat out do what I'd said all along he should do, just make him play it out, try to relight that fire. And I still believe to this day I would have done that. Jerry decided it was going to be more trouble than worth because he was just going to become an increasingly festering problem in the locker room, in the media, on his podcast. He's a great podcaster, Micah Parsons. But Jerry finally said, I've got to cut the cord now because the cord's just going to fray and fray and fray anyway. And so I get that. I still would have just said, heck with you. You play under this contract or not. But Micah at that point was saying, I am hurt and I am going to sit out because I'm hurt the first whatever number of games. And Jerry and the Cowboy doctors said, no, we don't see any proof that you are hurt. So I was told that Micah flew out here to Los Angeles from where I'm speaking and visited the Watkins orthopedic surgeons. It's Dr. Watkins Sr., Dr. Watkins Jr., who went to Vanderbilt University, by the way, the best school in America, with a team that you better watch this year in football. We'll talk about that in just a moment. The point was Micah came out to see the famed Watkins father and son for a second opinion. And I was told that they did say, no, you got an issue here that will require an epidural steroid and some treatment ongoing. Remember, the steroid shot's just a Band-Aid. It doesn't heal you. It just masks. But whatever, Micah, whether he took a shot or not, I don't know. Whether he was actually hurt, I have no idea, and I don't care because he's not my problem anymore. He's your problem, Green Bay. Yet all I hear is he's now turned into a combination of Lawrence Taylor, Reggie White, and the greatest pass rusher I ever saw, a former Dallas Cowboy by the name of Charles Haley. If you watch the Cowboy documentary, America's Team, The Gambler and His Cowboys on Netflix, if you didn't know, you know now what a force Charles Haley was for the 90s Cowboys dynasty. As Troy Aikman said the other night on Monday Night Football, back a couple of weeks, he said, I would not have 3 rings without Charles Haley. So is Micah Charles Haley? Well, trust me, I was there. I wrote 3 books on the Cowboys' dynastic years, 90, 93, 96. My books came out. I know Charles Haley. I watched every game. You couldn't block him with 3 people. He would bull rush through 3 people, or he would go Micah and outquick you right or left past 2 people. Every single passing down play, he bothered the quarterback, if not hit the quarterback or sacked the quarterback. There's no way the 92 Cowboys break through a year early and win without Jerry Jones pushing through the Micah trade with Carmen Policy and the 49ers. No way. And now we're comparing Micah Parsons to that. Would Charles wind up with 5 Super Bowl rings? I campaigned for him to be in the Hall of Fame because the media didn't like him because he was always at odds with the media, always attacking the media. And the way it ended for him in San Francisco was just flat out ugly. As you saw and heard in the documentary, it got ugly. We benefited. Jimmy didn't think he could coach him because he seemed uncoachable. Jerry said, no, we got to have him. And Jerry pulled that off. And I gave Jerry credit for that in my second book, the middle book called The Boys. And Jimmy despised that I gave Jerry credit for that. Jimmy banned me from the Cowboy facilities because of that book, because I gave Jerry credit in that book. And as I've told you before, on opening day of training camp, Jerry walked all the way past Jimmy, standing in the middle of the practice field at St. Edward's University in Austin, Texas, walked all the way past Jimmy over to me, where I thought I was about to be thrown out of practice by the security guards because of Jimmy's edict. And Jerry said to me, as long as I own this team, you'll always be welcome at all of our facilities. Thank you for that. I'm just talking about Charles Haley changed life in Dallas. Micah was not changing life in Dallas. The fourth of those playoff games was the ultimate no-show. Tell me I'm wrong about this. Maybe, am I dreaming this? Am I faking this? Am I delusional about this? Because I don't think I am. I think I remember very clearly that, speaking of Green Bay, the Packers just 2 years back in a home Jerry World playoff game, we were the 2 seed, they were the 7 seed. We had 8 Pro Bowlers, they had 3. We were a 7-point favorite, and we were down 27-0 before halftime. Micah played in that game all the way through. Although I had to look the next day at the participation chart to verify that he was on the field for the whole game. I thought, did he get hurt and I didn't notice? No, he was out there. Micah Parsons played the whole game and registered goose eggs all the way across the stat line. Goose eggs. He no-showed for the third time in 3 Cowboy playoff games. And I'm supposed to put him on the same pedestal with Charles Haley and Lawrence Taylor and the great Reggie White, one time a Green Bay Packer. I'm supposed to do that. He played for Philadelphia too. Way to go, Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly. I'm supposed to put Micah in the same breath with those. That just makes it bad breath to me. What am I missing here? Micah madness, Micah mania, Micah mayhem up in Green Bay. I guess he changed life for one game, but the Micah I carefully watched always wore down over time because he's not a physical football player. He was a liability against the run, but he was also a liability against the schedule because the giant offensive tackles just wear him down and out over time. Maybe he held his own and had his way occasionally with Penei Sewell, but over time, the 350-pound left tackles, right tackles, whichever side he lines up on, heck, the centers, if he lines up over center, they just keep pounding on him. The chip blockers keep taking pounds of flesh, and by game 10, 11, 12, going down the stretch of the schedule, he starts to wear down and the motor fades. A Ferrari in need of a tune-up. I saw it year after year, and I keep saying this, and it feels like nobody wants to believe me that I'm just sour grapes Cowboy fan. I'm just 20/20 hindsight on Micah, but I wasn't. I've been telling you this for a long time. For 3 years, I've been saying this. No, 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 no. Please, no. Please don't make him the highest paid non-quarterback. Jerry tried to do this. Jerry made him an offer back in March, and if Micah, as I told you he should have for his sake, if he had said, shake, done deal. He'd be a Cowboy, and he would be outrageously, dramatically, insanely overpaid. That's what he would be as we speak. So how can I not be happy? I don't wish him ill. I don't wish him evil. I don't wish him the worst. He got his money. Now I hope he can live up to his money. And seriously, it's going to snow in Green Bay, Micah. And it's going to snow hard and long. And once it starts, it won't stop for a long, long time. And it'll feel like it gets dark at 3 p.m. every afternoon. It just gets dark. And you'll be doing your podcast on Mondays. Maybe you'll add one on Wednesday for all I know. And they'll be explosive, and you'll shut down the internet with your views of your podcast. It certainly will dwarf what I'm trying to do right now. And I say, God bless you. But in the end, all I know is help me if my eyes are crossed on this one. Help me if I need glasses for this one. I watched my Dallas Cowboys on opening night at Philadelphia against the defending champs as 4.5-point underdogs. Maybe it was more than that. Maybe it was up to 6.5 by the end of the game. I think it opened at 4.5, went to 6.5, maybe 7. You know what? Now that I think about it, I'm confusing it with another game. I think it went up to 8.5 by game time, by kick. Whatever. We were underdogs, and we actually hung in. In the second half, once we drew a bead on Jalen Hurts, and we started to use a spy a little bit, once after the lightning delay, we started to blitz a little bit. My defense without Micah Parsons, he didn't play for Dallas in this game, didn't play a single snap, didn't even situational pass rush for the Dallas Cowboys because he's a Packer now. He packed his bags because Jerry packed them for Micah and said, enough of you, you're out. And I said, good riddance. And I said, good luck to Green Bay. And I said, good job to my defense on opening Thursday night, because through the second half, the defending champs managed one field goal for the entire second half, and it came in the third quarter, and it came from 58 yards from a Jake Elliott who last year really struggled from 50 plus, and he nailed it. He nailed it. I sound like Veronica Corningstone in Anchorman after she actually got her shot to replace Ron Burgundy. I nailed it. He nailed it. Nailed me right in the heart. I just didn't think he had that in him. But he did that, and it stood up 24-20. That made it 24-20, and that stood up because can't drop Lamb, CeeDee Lamb, because CeeDee Lamb turned into Mary Had a Little Lamb in this game. Mary had a little lamb. He dropped 4 passes. The best receiver in football dropped 4 passes, or we win the game. The defense played well enough to win the football game without Micah Parsons. I like Kenny Clark. Is he a Ferrari? No, he's a Tesla Cybertruck. That's what he is. He's a Cybertruck in the middle of that defense. And by all accounts, he played really well. It's kind of hard to evaluate a defensive tackle, but he held that bottom line. He anchored. He was the immovable object in the middle of that line. Put up some numbers. What do you have, like 4 tackles, I think? I'll take it. I'll take Kenny Clark. I'm not saying he's better than Micah, but I still think we'll have a decent pass rush. I still like this team. We should have won on opening Thursday night, and then we'd be off to the races. I still say the schedule by NFL standards, is easy to start. And I still say we are going to beat the New York Football Giants at Jerry World this Sunday. Help me out. What am I missing here? Is this crying over spilled Micah milk? No. I first guessed this a long time ago. So I'm lost here, and I'm being driven mad by Micah madness because it seems like the whole world has jumped to the conclusion that Micah Parsons, missing Parsons, left the Dallas Cowboys for dead. For dead. I didn't see dead on opening Thursday night. Did you? Help me out. Please let me know. All I know is I don't miss Micah Parsons and never will. Good riddance to you, Micah. Good luck to you, Green Bay, and God bless all of you, including us. Now, before I continue, FanDuel is getting you ready for the NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss. New customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet $5, and if it wins, you will unlock $300 in bonus bets to use all across the app. You can build parlays. You can bet player props. You can ride the live lines. Whatever your style, FanDuel has you covered. The NFL season is upon us. It's in high gear already. These not been great. I mean, every game I watch ends up great. The only question is, are you ready to play? Visit FanDuel.com / my first name, SKIP, FanDuel.com /skip to download the FanDuel app today and get you started. I will start you off for this coming NFL weekend with my picks, starting with Thursday night at the aforementioned Green Bay. This will be a great game to watch because you got Commanders at Packers. Commanders getting 3.5 points. I will take the Commanders. Maybe it's my Micah bias. Maybe I'm being objective. You figure it out. Sunday, at Jerry World, the Giants visit with now Russell Wilson starting at quarterback. Cowboys are giving 5.5 to the Giants. We have owned the Giants for quite a while, and I think that will continue this Sunday at Jerry World. I would give the 5.5. We will cover 5.5 and win by at least 7. And finally, speaking of those defending world champ Eagles, fly. At Chiefs, giving the now struggling Chiefs 1.5 are the Eagles. I am flying with the Eagles in that game. Fly, Eagles, fly. Give the 1.5, cover the 1.5. Thank you very much. Okay. Now, speaking of the Dallas Cowboys, I need to talk about my quarterback. And I haven't had a lot of great things to say about my quarterback in the last couple of years. But I think a point got missed about my quarterback on opening night at Philadelphia. I think the world missed the boat on Dak in the very opening sequence of the game. Opening kickoff, Eagle gets hurt, injury timeout. And here's what I saw from my quarterback. I saw instant leadership from my man, Dak Prescott. I saw something I have never seen from Dakota Rain Prescott. Rain, Dak, rain. REIGN, rain. I've questioned his leadership, but I didn't at that opening moment, because you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Jaylen Carter crossed the line of scrimmage during the injury timeout, walked toward the Cowboy huddle as they huddled up, the offensive huddle, and he started talking trash to Tyler Booker, the rookie starting offensive right guard for the Dallas Cowboys, because when Tyler Booker was drafted in his first interview with the Dallas media, he said something about how he was looking forward to playing Jaylen Carter because he considered him it. Probably shouldn't have gone there, but I appreciated the guts that it took, the perspective he already had. He was actually trying to pay Jaylen a compliment that Jaylen did not take. I want to go against the best, and that's Jaylen Carter. Jaylen took it as, I want to shut down. I want to show Jaylen Carter I can shut him down and turn him into a non-factor on opening Thursday night. That's how Jaylen took it. So Jaylen took the moment, the pause, the injury timeout to just walk across the line of scrimmage into what I call the demilitarized zone, the no-fly zone. You just don't cross that line. You don't walk up to the opposing team's huddle in a dead ball situation and start talking noise to anybody in that huddle. It's just not done. Sorry, no. I don't care if you're Jaylen Carter or Micah Parsons or Charles freaking Haley. You just don't do that. It's breaking an unwritten National Football League rule, a locker room rule that players observe. You don't do that. And he was doing that. So how did my quarterback respond? He was the first to see it because obviously his offensive linemen on the Jaylen Carter side of the huddle had their backs turned to Jaylen Carter. I wish one of them would have understood what was happening behind them. I don't know if they could hear him, what he was saying to Tyler Booker. It happened fairly quickly, but I would hope that a Tyler Smith, an all-pro left guard, would have wheeled and gotten in Jaylen Carter's face. But no, the quarterback saw it first, and the quarterback objected, and the quarterback retaliated to Jaylen Carter's presence in the no-fly zone by stepping forward and smiling for a second. Oh, that's how you want to play this game. And spitting. Dak Prescott spat, if I can use the past tense. He spat forward. It just came out of his mouth and went on the ground sort of between his offensive linemen. He didn't spit on Jaylen Carter. He spat at Jaylen Carter, spat in his direction, and it was the classic shot over the bow, the warning shot over the bow. Dak was saying, this is what I think of you breaking that unwritten rule and talking, you know what, to my rookie guard. I think, patooey. That's what I think. Dak is not going to spit on Jaylen Carter because Jaylen Carter would kick Dak's ass all the way up and down the field. I mean, that's like taking your life into your hands. Maybe not even during the game, but sometime after the game. Jaylen Carter is going to find him somewhere, somehow, and make that right. Dak's too smart for that, but he was shrewd enough to spit in his direction, shot over bow, warning shot. Whew, I couldn't believe it. I loved it. And then Dak had the guts and the gumption as Jaylen took another step forward, Dak took a step forward between the two offensive linemen with their backs to Jaylen Carter. He stepped between them and stepped right into the face of Jaylen Carter. I loved it. I honor it. I endorse Dak. I validate you and your leadership off that and that alone. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I have missed in Dak Prescott for these many years. That's the kind of reaction to an action taken, a bully action on the part of Jaylen Carter, who's a monster of a player. He is, I call him a bully because he's capable, you know. He doesn't have to fake it until he makes it. He's not that kind of bully. He's just a flat out monster of a bully. He can just beast anybody. And obviously it did change the game somewhat that he was gone and Javonte Williams had his way in the first half as we continue to score right along with the Philadelphia Eagles. We actually had a run game, and it in part, I'll even go to large part, it was because of the absence of that monster in that middle. But my quarterback stepped up and continued to return verbal fire into the face mask to face mask with Jaylen Carter. And Jaylen Carter was taken aback. And Jaylen Carter was literally on his heels from Dak just striding right into his face. You saw what happened. It was a fall away spit that he spat at Dak and on Dak. I think it went down his front. It's like the worst thing. I can't speak for the women out there, but man to man, it's just the worst. I think I can speak for the women. It's just the worst human, the most degrading, belittling, disgusting thing that one human can do to another is to spit on them, expectorate your saliva all over them. It's just the worst. And yet, Jaylen Carter is off balance. He's literally falling backwards. And wait a minute. The Cowboy quarterback spit at me, I think. Didn't he spit at me? Yeah, he did. He did. And now he's come right through the huddle at me, and I'm talking shit to him, and he's talking it right back to me, giving it right back in my face, and I'm taken aback, and as I fall away, I'm going to spit on him because I don't know what else to do. Dak got him. Dak outfoxed him. Dak outwitted him. For once, a Dallas Cowboy ran rings, as in Super Bowl rings, around an eagle, and they raised the banner that night. They'd just done it. I'm not predicting that we're going to win the Super Bowl, but that was a Super Bowl moment. That's the kind of moment that can set up a Super Bowl takeoff. It is. That's the one where I would look back and say, that's when it all started. We should have won the game. CeeDee Lamb, who's not been a big Dak fan over the last couple of years, CeeDee Lamb, whose mom posted, I think it was on Instagram, after that Green Bay nightmare loss, the playoff game at home 2 years ago, she posted, I think on IG, Dak ain't it. And I agreed with her, but that had to come from 88. That had to come from her son. She wouldn't just do that on her own. I don't think so. I think she had heard her son say, he just ain't it. Well, on this night, CD as in can't drop, he wasn't it either. On that night, on opening night, Dak was it. Dak set the tone for an opening night victory. Dak set the tone for a takeoff season. Dak set the tone for a run through the first 8-ish games. Again, by NFL standards, this is an easy run. That's just how I look at it. I know Micah comes, 3 more weeks. It's fine. We can beat Green Bay at home. We can. I know they're invincible. It's over. No, we can beat them at home. But Dak set the tone. Dak threw the heck out of the football. Dak made no mistakes. There was no sack fumble, no interceptions. He was throw for throw with Jalen Hurts. And if CD just hangs on to 3 of them, if he just I'll go this far. If he catches one of the 2 deep throws in the fourth quarter, I think we're going to win. Nope, they didn't have Jaylen Carter, but that was thanks to my quarterback. He suckered him. He challenged him, and he baited him into a disqualification. Way to go, Dak Prescott. I've never been prouder of you than I was at that moment. Thank you, Dak, for that. That was real, live, authentic, genuine, legitimate leadership that I have never, ever seen from you. And I hope to see more of same. Thank you. By the way, Ernestine and I, no protein bars. We carry protein bars with us wherever we go. I'm on the golf course. She's out. Even if I have a sinking spell, blood sugar falls, I know she's got a protein bar. We rely on protein bars to get us through, for snacks, for just a quick protein surge. I do attack the weights. I need to eat smaller meals. I need to do things that protein bars make capable. And the point here is we know what we're talking about when it comes to evaluating protein bars. I have been shocked by how good David protein bars are. They're very high in protein. I just can't get enough. But they are low in calories. It's a great combination. I'm hooked on the blueberry and the chocolate fudge and the peanut butter. To me, David protein bars are they taste as good as any candy bar I've ever had in my life, dating back to 3 years old. And does David ever have a deal for my viewers and my listeners? Because you can buy 4 cartons and get the 5th one for free. That is a deal. You can go to David Protein, all one word, davidprotein.com/SKIP, my first name, Skip. That's davidprotein.com/Skip to get your 5th carton free. You'll blow right through them because you'll get hooked on them. So trust me, that's a deal. Humans aren't perfect, but David is. Now for another incident involving a quarterback on the solo stage NFL presentation that was Sunday night's game. Baltimore, the preseason favorite to win it all, at Buffalo, a team coming off Hard Knocks that a lot of people are picking to get to or win the Super Bowl. One of the weirder games I've ever watched because, as I keep telling you week after week, I always try to talk myself into the Ravens. Sometimes I do. And yet there's some little voice in the back of my head that says, don't trust, don't trust, don't trust. And I don't know exactly why, but I'm going to tell you my theories as to why in just a moment. So I watched on opening Sunday night, solo stage, I watched the Baltimore Ravens make maybe the most resounding Super Bowl statement I've ever seen on an opening day or night stage. They dominated Buffalo. They overwhelmed the Bills. They mesmerized me out here in Los Angeles, sitting at first on the edge of my seat and finally falling back into my seat and thinking for the longest time, This is over. I mean, the AFC is over. Nobody's going to beat Baltimore this year. Talk about a two-headed monster. Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. Don't get me started on why Jerry didn't want a Derrick Henry. He was campaigning because he lives in Dallas to play for the Cowboys. This is going back before last season. Campaigning, and Jerry said no, and I don't know why. I'm sure Jerry and whoever was advising him, Jerry doesn't know. He just listens and then acts like it's his idea. Somebody told him that Derrick's going to hit 30 and he's going to hit the wall, and that didn't happen because this past Sunday night, he looked bigger and stronger and faster than ever. He ripped off 2 long touchdown runs that took my breath away. Lamar Jackson, late in the game, executed, pulled off a great escape, the likes of which no other human is capable. I saw Caleb Williams on Monday night execute lots of great escapes, but Caleb can't hurt you downfield the way Lamar can, because once he takes off, he's got wide out, deep speed, as you know. Nobody can do that. So I'm watching this two-headed monster devour Buffalo, and it gets to 40-25, and I think this is over. I'm talking about the year is over. The season is over. It's like they're saying about Green Bay. It's over in the NFC. No, this is over. But let me back up 1 touchdown to the one before Derrick Henry's last bolt for a touchdown. And it was the most spectacular touchdown of the night because DeAndre Hopkins, new Raven, reached up into the Buffalo sky with the DB hanging all over his left arm and with his right hand snagged a really well-thrown ball from a dart thrower that is Lamar Jackson. It was a beautiful pass, but an even more beautiful catch. And I'm sure back in Baltimore, it just lit the night. I'm sure Raven Nation just exploded to highest heavens with joy and rapture and belief that this was the year. That was late third quarter, and Lamar went running as only he can down to congratulate D-Hop in the end zone. And weirdly, D-Hop starts to celebrate, and they have to kind of form a line with Lamar right behind him. They have to form a line after D-Hop as he walks along the edge of the stands celebrating. And now you've got 5 or 6 Ravens, whatever, coming behind him. And they are celebrating right in the faces of Buffalo fans who can literally, because the stands are so low there, reach out and touch opposing players. There are very few places like this in the NFL because mostly the walls are higher, more separated, farther from the end zone. And there's just not the opportunity to reach out and literally touch a football player. You can do it in basketball, obviously, pro and college basketball. You are literally on top of them. Courtside at Laker games out here, you can reach out and touch LeBron if you so choose, and hopefully nobody chooses. But this is a very old stadium, and for the most part, you can't do it in other spots in the stadium like you can do it there. And the Ravens were front running. They were showboating. Frankly, they were celebrating way too early. They thought it was over at that point. They certainly thought it was way over at 40-25. What was that, 33 or 32? Anyway, this is a previous touchdown. And yet, the newest Raven, D-Hop, is somehow going in your face to Buffalo fans who are literally right there in his face. And as you well know by now, one fan, I don't know how old he was. At first I thought he was 14. The more I looked, maybe he was 17 or 18. I don't know. Blonde kid, white kid. He doesn't like it, and I frankly can't blame him because he was obviously a diehard. Who knows what he'd had to drink? I have no idea. I'm just speculating, but most people who go to these football games, especially night games, have tailgated. Was he in his right mind or not? I don't know. Maybe he was, and he was in his right heart, because I can tell you what I would have thought in that circumstance. I would have not been pleased if I were a Buffalo fan sitting in the front row, that they were grandstanding and celebrating all along the stands there as a team, as a group. It was over the line. It was conduct unbecoming of a potential Super Bowl champion. And you've got the new receiver and the quarterback who's won 2 MVPs, nearly 3 last year over your guy Josh Allen. Nearly 3, face of the franchise, one of the faces of the league. You could argue the face of the league. You could make that case. Mahomes would have a case. Josh now would have a case. But Lamar's in the realm. He's up in that ether. And the kid, obviously, he takes a swipe at DeAndre Hopkins. First, I thought he was congratulating him, but I think he just kind of swung and missed. He was just expressing his ire, his disgust that they were celebrating in front of the front row of Bills fans. And then comes Lamar, celebrating right along with this sort of conga line. And now the kid's not going to miss. Lamar's a little shorter. And he pops him on the helmet. And Lamar did something you just can't do. And I don't want to hear the argument that he's just a human being. I don't want to hear that. No, he's not. He's a legendary football player. Face of franchise, if not league. Lamar shoved him back hard with all his might, and the kid goes flying backwards. And the reason you can't cross the line that the kid crossed is it's called liability. It's called, you can't do that. Even though he started it, you can't finish that. You can't cross back across that imaginary line that is the stands. You cannot retaliate with physicality. I keep waiting for the lawsuit. I keep waiting here, even though the kid got thrown out and banned. I keep waiting for the lawsuit. His back hurts, his neck hurts, concussion, whatever it might bring. And I'm not saying that wouldn't be true. I think the kid took a shot, probably wasn't expecting any kind of retaliation, and he got it right in the chest. And I've heard from so many people who say he deserved it. Okay, in the real world, yeah, I give you that. But this is not the real world. And I sympathize with Lamar only because it happened so fast and so unexpectedly. And furthermore, and I never underestimate this, it was a white guy shoving a black man, and you just can't. If you're that black man who is that quarterback, this is not how it happens in the real world. You are a representative, a foremost representative of the National Football League. And if you retaliate, nothing good can come of that. Did you win some respect? Okay, I guess you can argue that. It's just some kid. Did most of the world say, way to go, Lamar? I think most of the world did, and I think the NFL just waits to hear. They just gauge the social media reaction now. They've got experts. I think we survived it. I think we're okay. Because I said immediately, you have to suspend Lamar a game. You can't do that. And he was very contrite after the game, and he said, I let my emotions get the best of me. He did. And he said, I learned from that. Well, he did after the fact. I'm sure that's never happened to him before. And I sympathize with that part. I'm just telling you, you can't do that. Obviously, the worst case of that was in the NBA, the malice at the palace. My guy, Ron Artest, Meta World Peace. And my other guy, Steven Jackson, they go up in the stands only because Ron went first. Guy had thrown a cup. He said it still had some beverage in it. As Ron was, resting on the scorer's table, and he took exception, and he went up after him. And here came Steven Jackson, and mayhem ensued. Obviously, suspensions ensued for months of suspensions. It was chaos, and it was near tragedy. Somebody could have gotten either badly hurt or killed. Somebody could have gotten killed. God knows what could have happened. And I guess in the end, it wasn't nearly as bad as it could have been. And neither was this. I'm just telling you that this was the rarest of NFL situations. And when Lamar said, I learned from that, the lesson here for any NFL player listening, you can't do that. You can't, even if they cross, you can't cross back that line. It's too dangerous for you, your reputation, and the league's liability. I'm waiting for the other sneaker to drop, the lawsuit. It may be being prepared as we speak. It sounds like Lamar is not going to get suspended, or we would have heard something about it, because I think social media actually liked Lamar going back at this kid. But I want to make a strong point that that's the line you can't cross back. And I was surprised Lamar did. And you say, well, how else can you react to that? It's close to the spitting incident. It's close to being spat upon. Well, yeah, but not really. Okay, so he popped you on the helmet. Yeah, I get it. It's ultimate sort of disrespect, not spitting ultimate, but for a fan to slap an opposing quarterback on the helmet like that, I get it. But you guys started it by celebrating all along. And it almost felt like it was a premeditated type celebration, conga line down the edge of the stands. And I was surprised because we haven't even gotten to the fourth quarter. And this is Josh Allen at home. And he wound up throwing for 251 yards in that fourth quarter. That's preposterous to me. What was it? 15 of 21 for 251 in the fourth quarter alone. That was about to ensue. And they were celebrating, and Lamar was participating. And that's the kind of thing. That's leadership. I talked about Dak never showing leadership. Leadership is you celebrate quickly and briefly and get back to your sideline and get ready. I think it's a minute left in the third quarter. You get ready for what could be a long, hard fourth quarter thanks to Josh Allen. That's how you play that. And he didn't play it that way. They were front running and celebrating like the game was over. And they probably thought it was. And I think the world thought it was down to the 4-minute mark when they were still ahead 40-25. And you know the rest of the story. 41-40 was the rest of the story. I don't know, Lamar. You got to be better than that. By the way, this episode is brought to you by ZipRecruiter. If you own a business, hiring can be so time-consuming. I've heard stories of employers waiting weeks, even months, for the right candidate to apply, not to include the time spent, sorting through all these resumes that cross your desk or through your inbox. Then you have to get in touch with the potential candidate, which can be trouble all of its own. My point is that an employer looking for a qualified candidate can be a headache that you don't need. Well, the future of hiring looks much brighter because ZipRecruiter's latest tools and features help speed up finding the right people for your roles quickly. With ZipRecruiter's new advances, you can easily find and connect with qualified candidates in minutes. See a candidate you're really interested in, you can unlock their contact info instantly. Over 320,000 new resumes are added to ZipRecruiter monthly, which means you can reach more potential hires and fill more roles so much quicker. Use ZipRecruiter and save time hiring. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's 4 out of 5 in one day. If you go to ZipRecruiter.com/skip, S-K-I-P, you go there right now, you can try it for free. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/SKIP, my first name. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. All right, quick thought on one of my favorite new NFL players who was one of my favorite college players, especially over the last 2 years at Colorado, Travis Hunter. He is one of one. He is unicorn. He is revolutionary. He is breakthrough. He is going to change the way football has been played for many years back to the old no face mask days when everybody went, quote unquote, both ways, played offense, played defense. Travis Hunter is as gifted going after a football in the air as any player I have ever witnessed. Whether he is playing cornerback or receiver, when the ball goes up, it is his ball. He is going to go retrieve it before you can. He's going to outrun you. He's going to outjump you. He's going to out-ball skills you. He's going to out-catch you. There have been so many great cornerbacks in the history of this league who could lock you up and lock you down as a cover corner, but if the ball was thrown up in that direction, it might belong to the wide receiver because the corner couldn't catch. So many corners couldn't catch because they tried to play receiver as kids and they were moved to corner because they couldn't catch. They couldn't track ball in flight. They couldn't track down ball as it landed. Travis Hunter can do that at literally the highest level. Travis Hunter is the closest thing to his college coach, Deion Sanders, as ever there was as a cornerback. Deion was by far the greatest cornerback, but Travis has the capability to at least be in the conversation with Deion, and I do not put Darrelle Revis in the conversation with Deion. I just don't. Deion was one of one. Travis Hunter will be one of one if, in fact, he's utilized correctly and allowed to do what God gave him the ability to do, which is play both ways, to play corner and to play receiver. And Jacksonville on opening day befuddled me by playing Travis Hunter 42 snaps on offense and only 6 snaps on defense. Upside down, wrong. You can find Travis Hunter as a receiver. There are lots of good receivers. They're everywhere. There's some undrafted free agents who didn't make it in this league who are pretty good receivers. Travis Hunter can be a Pro Bowl receiver. But you can't find Travis Hunter at cornerback. You just can't. There was Deion. There was Darrelle. There was Aqib Talib. There was Lester Hayes. I can go back to Willie Brown. I can go back to Cornell Green. I can go back, but we're counting them on one hand. You can't find Travis Hunter at cornerback. He belongs at cornerback and at receiver. So you might remember, if you followed this show, in the interview show that I do, Skip 101, I had Deion Sanders on the show a little while back. It was before the draft. I asked him, if you coach Travis in pro football, how would you utilize him? And he said, exactly the way I did at Colorado. Exactly the way I used him the last 2 years at Colorado, or for that matter, at Jackson State. So I looked it up. Last year at Colorado, Travis Hunter played 750 snaps at receiver on offense and 773 snaps on defense at cornerback. So he actually played 23 more snaps on defense than offense. And Jacksonville used him 42 snaps on offense and only 6 on defense. That's just wrong. That's just dumb. That's what that is. That is upside down. 50-50. You say, well, he can't last playing that many snaps. Well, Deion's point to me was, number one, college football is much faster. It's played on offense much faster than pro football. They play fast break. Everybody plays fast break. Everybody, it's run and shoot. It's no huddle. Boom, 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 boom. More plays are run in college than in pro. So you do get small breathers in pro football where you get a minute to catch your breath, offense or defense. And then there's the punishment element. Travis Hunter is unicorn when it comes to punishment. He's not a physical tackler, but he knows how to get you on the ground, just like his mentor, Deion. Deion was always criticized. Oh, he doesn't tackle him. No, he'll tackle you. He will get you on the ground when necessary. If this play has to be made to win the football game, he will get you on the ground. He'll trip you up. Whatever has to be done, trust me. Deion was a very physical corner when he chose to be. He was a 200-pounder. 6'1"-ish, 200? So is Travis. Travis can get you on the ground. Travis made a play, blew up the Baylor quarterback. Remember that? When it looked like it was going to overtime? Just blew him up on was it a sneak or a quarterback run in the hole? Just blew him up and separated him from, dislodged the football. He can do that. But he doesn't play crazy kamikaze physical corner. And on offense, a receiver, he's just got that nifty knack of avoiding that sort of lethal shot. He doesn't put himself in harm's way, sort of like Emmitt Smith as a ball carrier, that quickness in a confined space. I mean, nobody ever got a shot on Emmitt. I never saw him take bad shot. He fell on his shoulder at New York in that last regular season game, but it wasn't because of the shot. He just kind of fell wrong and hurt his shoulder. It wasn't as big a deal as he and John Madden made it out to be, but that's another story. The point is, Travis has got that nifty knack, that self-preservation gene of, again, I'm knocking on wood. I don't even like to talk about this, but he has no injury history. He just doesn't. He could play both ways in pro football. He can revolutionize the game. I've been calling him on this show now for going back, I don't know, 2 years, that he will revolutionize the game as a two-way player. As a two-way player. Once upon a time, everybody went two ways. He can do it now. He's that gifted. He is that good. He is that guy. He is that dude. I just hope Jacksonville wakes up in time to figure that out, because he can change the game both ways. But his value, his ultimate value to me, is at cornerback. I can't find Deion Sanders, and here he is. That is it for this episode. I want to thank Tyler Korn for producing. I want to thank Ernestine for overseeing. And I especially want to thank Hazel for approving.